Okay, guys, I got a focused stock to talk about today. It's been a while. VTSI, all right? Wow, exciting development of VTSI. We'll get to that in just one moment. First, we had FOMC yesterday, and look, no surprise the market's down. Anytime the market goes down, I'm not surprised. I am surprised it went up yesterday and then down. So, like, trading this chop, almost impossible. Really impossible. But look, the fundamentals to me, inflation, higher interest rates, everything. I've been talking about this forever. I've been consistent about it every single day. I believe SPY is headed to that 200-week moving average for starters. That's a magnet, and we take it from there. Could go much lower. I've talked to you about my philosophies of what a bear market is, and that 200-week moving average being that demarcation line between a bull and a bear market. And if we go below the 200-week moving average, again, it's reflective of a real fundamental issue that can cause you to go into a bear market, which could take quarters or years to find a bottom. We are potentially in that situation for SPY, so I'm looking for 350 first as a test. The way it gets there, crazy. It's impossible to trade, okay? Anyway, so that's the story of the SPY. QQQ, ARC, much the same, although those charts are holding up better. You can see Bitcoin there, UVXY with the spike this morning. All that makes sense. Listen, let me present VTSI, then I'll come back and talk about some news for Twitter, Revlon, Quick that came out. All right. But VTSI has been a long-term holding of mine for a long time. This is one of the only stocks. This and Drio are the two stocks I've held the entire way down since early November. If you guys recall, I became bearish on the market in early November, and I started reallocating, selling off risk assets. But in the case of Drio and VTSI, I decided to withstand the pain, okay? And that's because in the case of VTSI, I felt the fundamentals are really good, but it's also something that could be recession resistant, because at the time in early November, I was forecasting a recession. I was worried about any stock that has consumer discretionary as part of their revenue and their growth. VTSI is not consumer discretionary, should be recession resistant. So I've held it through this entire drawdown. So I'm going to go through some fundamentals in a second. We'll try to, this happened all this morning. That VTSI was on CNN today. Okay, we're going to show you the clip in a second, but we're going to try to go through the four pillars best we can: fundamentals, catalyst, sentiment, and technicals. So first, let me pull up. I'm going to pull up this CNN video here. Just one second. Okay, here we go. All right. So this is VTSI on CNN, June 16th. So before I hit the play button, just a little background. VTSI, they sell hardware and software to police departments to help with police training. So take a look at what was just published on CNN today, and I assume it was on TV on Anderson Cooper last night, but it's published here today, June 16th.
In the last hour, we spoke to a father, one of the victims of the Robb Elementary School shooting in Texas. He called the police cowards and said they did not follow protocol when responding to it. It's put a spotlight on the speed of the response by local law enforcement. Last night, we reported on a far more swift response by police outside of Dallas who shot a gunman threatening a summer camp. Gary Tuchman has been following how police train for active shooter situations, and we warn you that part of what you're seeing or about to see is a reenactment. The people involved are participating in a simulation. It's not real. It is disturbing nonetheless. Here's Gary's report.
Thomas Duran, Enid, Oklahoma Police Department.
I just want to pause this right here because I just want to note that you can see that very high profile imagery, very at the beginning of Virtua in the background and VTSI, which will make this easy for people out in the world who are looking for a stock to buy. Makes it easy to find it, and they talk about the stock more at the end.
I've been here 2 weeks. I've been an officer in total for almost 12 years.
A warning that what you're about to see might be very difficult to watch. Officer Duran is starting intensely realistic active shooter police training.
Let's go, we got shots fired. Let's move.
With a high-tech simulator that this department just recently bought. The people you will see are hired actors.
Okay, Officer Duran. Shots fired at the school. and that's all the information we have. You're there with your two partners, and you know our policy is we go in, we don't wait.
So the other thing I really like about this placement is because it's relative, it's timely to what's going on with the school shooting and Uvalde. I mean, if this were better times, this stock might be already double where it is right now because of what's going on. But this is very timely, culturally speaking, and people who may come across this may be interested in learning more about VTSI.
How many are there? Where are they?
Even though they're actors, watching the training scene unfold is traumatic.
Where'd they go? Where'd they go? How many more are there? Where did they go? Where are they? Where did they go?
Okay, so what I'm going to do is skip to closer to the end, because now they're showing you the training and how it works. They go through school shooting, a library shooting, the theater shooting, so all things that are very relevant to what's going on in the culture today. And then let's take it over to about here, and they talk about sales and the stock and things like that.
In the scenarios, I'm proud of him.
Officer Duran is also told his elevated stress level and heart rate are to be expected with this lifelike training.
Do you think you're a better police officer than when you walked in here?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because of this training?
Yes.
Look at that VTSI in the back. Love it.
Anderson, the number of police departments that have these simulators is relatively low, but the numbers are growing rapidly. Virtra, the company that made the simulator, you just saw one of the major players in the business, said they sold about 600 of the units to police departments, also to colleges and high schools. But consider this fact, 600 units in roughly 18,000 police departments in the United States.
Oh yeah, CNN's like talking about TAM. I mean, like they sold 600, but there's 18,000 police departments. I mean, what a plug. I love it.
States, that's a low percentage. One of the reasons for that, it's very expensive. It's not cheap. Enid, Oklahoma got its unit 3 months ago, paid about $250,000 for it. But Enid and other...
There you go. $250,000 times 600, 18,000 police departments. This is what the general public's going to see about VTSI.
Police departments we talk to, Anderson, swear by it. They say it's an incredibly valuable addition to their active shooter training.
All right. There you go. Let me hold on. Stop that chart and let's go to. Am I still sharing? All right, great. All right, so that's the video that was on CNN. So that is obviously a catalyst that people are finding out about this story. It's a catalyst, and there's some nuggets in there that I didn't even know exactly. I wasn't on top of. 600 out of 18,000 police departments. The pricing was on there. So lots of like fundamental nuggets. It's the catalyst of people now becoming aware of this. In terms of sentiment, I talked about this already. It's a great time in terms of sentiment for this sector. I will, however, say company-specific sentiment for VTSI has been poor because they've been late filing their Q1 report because of some sort of audit that's going on, unrelated to any wrongdoing or anything like that. Some new system they're putting in. So accounting system. So, that's not, I think it's accounting. I don't even know what that audit's about, to tell you the truth. But in any case, that's the catalyst and the sentiment. Let's look at the fundamentals a little bit. You can see the revenue here over time has been consistently growing. For those who take a superficial look at the stock, they can also see the PE ratio is very low at 12. Environment, they're looking for stocks that are making money, that have earnings, and we have that here with VTSI. Another way to look at it is the EV to EBITDA ratio, which is even better at 10. So I also touched base with Mark Gomes, who gave us this chart that has had a risk-reward chart that's based on fundamentals. And you can see in his risk-reward chart, this is like the range of where the stock can trade fundamentally. Now it's at the bottom of that range at around $5, and the top of that range is around 13. So listen, I don't know exactly what it's going to do today or tomorrow or next week. We don't know that, and the macro sucks. The macroeconomic situation in the stock market definitely sucks. But, I've been holding this long-term in my IRA, and, this could be a spot where people pick this up. It could be a spot where I may pick up some additional trading shares because we're at the bottom of this value channel. And now you have the catalyst of a potentially much greater increased awareness. So that's all very interesting. Let's see if we can look at the technicals. This is more of a fundamental value channel that Mark has shared with us. So let's go to the technicals, see if I have a take on that I can share with you about where this could possibly go if it does decide to run in the near term. So that is the 200-week moving average, which is also support, which coincides with the fundamental value channel. That's pretty cool because this has been a line I've been using for a lot of my charts to find support for stocks. And obviously, if it breaks through that, it's not good. But otherwise, we're below all of these moving averages. So all of these could act as resistance in case we do get a pop. So be aware of that. The 20, not as much of a resistance. You can see broke through it several times. It wasn't that meaningful. And that's usually the case with the 20 DMA. The 50 DMA is always much more meaningful. It tried to break out April 1st out of that, but it didn't quite work. It had an intraday move above it here in May. That's indicative, shows you how strong. And look at that. If you go back 6 months, that 50 DMA is really one of the key DMAs. And I've been noticing in a lot of stocks, like Dario, for instance, and lots of other ones, Zoom, for instance, there's a lot of them. The 50 DMA is proving to be like a kind of an inflection point for many, many stocks. Even though the 200 is the ultimate one that everyone recognizes, the 50, you can see it here very plainly and visually. So let's see where that 50 DMA is here. That's at 510, 512. So if this were to move in the next few days because of increased awareness, I think it's natural that 512 would be some sort of resistance, maybe a little bit of resistance at 5, like I said, but the 20 DMA, not so meaningful. It's obviously also a whole number at this point. So there could be additional psychological resistance here at 5. But the key is if, and I don't know if we will, if it breaks and closes above the 50 DMA, then you can really have room to run for a while. I don't know that that's going to happen. Maybe it could. Don't know. But wow, what a spot for VTSI. And, even in this bear market, there's been individual stocks that have run if it's, been identified by enough people as a good pick. So, we'll see what the rest of the trading community thinks of VTSI. And, we'll get this video out there and they'll vote with their pocketbooks. If they agree with the video and they agree with the sentiment, it may go up in the short term. If not, hey, sitting in my IRA for the long term. So that's what it is there. All right, let's move on to a little bit of some other news here. I did talk about the major indices, and yeah, I got no idea what it does short term, but it's going to 350. I almost can guarantee it. Nothing's a sure thing, but I've been calling for that level for months, and it's been nothing but a magnet heading there. Okay, Twitter. Elon Musk this morning is going to be at Twitter headquarters. So this is interesting because this was announced. This was announced June 13th in the evening, after the market closed, that Elon Musk would be going to Twitter this week to have a meeting with Twitter staff to answer any questions, like an all hands-on meeting, something like that is the way it was described. And the stock immediately jumped to $1 in after hours, from like 37 to 38-ish. And the next day it held those gains at the open. It was volatile and it pulled back again to like 37. So at the time, I was actually surprised that it only moved up $1, right? And I didn't trade this. I didn't get in. But to me, I immediately interpreted that to mean that, this deal's probably going through. Why would Elon agree? I can't imagine part of some show, or legally at this point he has to go have this meeting. I would think his having this meeting because he at this point is going to close this deal. Now, does it happen at 54 or a lower level? I don't know, but the talk I've been seeing coming out of Twitter, it seems like they're dead set on enforcing the 54, and I'm not sure Elon can get a lower price unless he wants to pay $1 billion. So in any case, I interpreted that to mean this deal's happening. It only moved up $1, and I was kind of curious, pulled back. And now last night, we get another report, I think this time from the Wall Street Journal, which talked about contents of what Elon is expected to speak about. And if you go look at the details of that, let's see. Let's see if I can find it here. Twitter stock rallies 2.6% ahead of appearance. Okay, 1 second. All right, so last night, there we go. This is the key phrase that, I mean, it's obvious. Like it should, but it says reiterate desire to own Twitter, right? Because the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Elon Musk is expected to reiterate his desire to own Twitter. I mean, to me, it's like repetitive. Like the fact that, a few nights ago they said is coming to speak by itself is reiterating the desire to own Twitter. But because someone at the Wall Street Journal specifically said, because they're familiar with the matter and familiar with what Elon Musk is going to talk about, so they said he reiterated his desire to own Twitter. So now it's up. It jumped another $1 up here to 39. So curious that people didn't want to bid it up to 39 a few days ago, but now they're willing to. But in any case, I'm just informing you of what's going on. It could be a catalyst for continued movement to the upside. You can see it's breaking over the 20 DMA. I'm not playing it. Market's just crazy too volatile for me. But that's the story. Wanted to let you know what's going on with Twitter and why it's up this morning. Revlon, I've been giving this idea in our trading room the last couple of days. I did a trade on it this day, made some money, not a lot. I made some money. I picked the wrong put contracts or something. I don't know. I should have made a lot more. I don't know why I only made a little when it had this big drop. But in any case, Revlon has now filed for bankruptcy and the stock is halted. So I don't know what that means for the stock, when it reopens and what price it's going to reopen at. But probably if you guys were short or had puts, I'm assuming that'll pay off soon when the stock reopens. Okay. And that's about it. Drio had news last night. So Solera Health adds Dario Health to its cardiometabolic network. This is not the huge news we're waiting for. So we'll see what happens. It's a critical support right now. 50 DMA, 590, 595-ish. Listen, anything's possible. If the market crashes, it could go down here. But based on everything management's been telling us, I'm confident that within the next 2 to 3 weeks, they will announce the big national insurer. And at that point, I think we break 750, 770 and head much higher. So I am sticking to my guns on Dario Health. There was some news on Quick this morning. You can take a look at that. Not revenue news, like some sort of collaboration on a product. And there was some data from INMB this morning. I reached out to Dan Carlson, and he said it's not really so significant. It's preclinical data for, I think, breast cancer. So you can take a look at that. And that's all we got. So my focus today is VTSI. I will possibly be taking a trade position. Oh, it's up. Look at that. Someone bought 1,000 shares. Is there news? It's just, okay, it's just maybe your chatter on this. So someone bought 1,000 shares at 491. I personally wouldn't do that. If I did get into this, I'd like to get in at like 470 or something. 465, 470 to pick up if I'm going to pick up some extra trading shares. So there you have it, guys. Good luck. Stock of the day, VTSI. Let's see if it works out. Have a great day.